Welcome into the weekly Main Street Media TV High School Football Wrap-Up Show. Friday night was the quarterfinals, and it's time to find out how your favorite team fared. We'll travel to all corners of the mid-state to talk with your community newspaper sports editors and sports writers to get the scoop from the sidelines. If you're seeing this in Middle Tennessee, chances are Main Street Media has a newspaper that serves your community. So go to MainStreetMediaTN.com to find the local Main Street paper in your area. And when you find it, maybe sign up for a subscription to keep up with all the news and sports coverage we've got lined up for you. Okay, let's get this week's high school football wrap started and head over to David Wilson in East Middle Tennessee.
Hey everybody, this is David Wilson, East Middle Tennessee Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps. Here to give you a quick recap of all the quarterfinal games across Wilson and Rutherford County this week. We had some crossover between Wilson and Rutherford County, with the lone team in Wilson County remaining standing, the Green Hill Hawks making the trip down to Ray Hughes Stadium on Friday night to take on the defending state champions of Class 6A, the Oakland Patriots. And what a heck of a ball game it was on Friday night in Murfreesboro. Oakland rallies from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to advance back to their 12th straight TLS State semifinal. 21-17 was your final score. Green Hill jumped out early in the first quarter, took a 7-0 lead off the back of a 6-yard touchdown run from Zach Cartwright. Oakland answers on its next possession with Dante Cameron scampering and escaping the pocket on a 29-yard touchdown run. Green Hill goes into the half tied with the Patriots 7-7 with a lot of momentum, and they take advantage on the opening drive of the second half. Dylan Hawks is on the receiving end of a post route from quarterback Cannon Burrows, who's headed to UT Martin. Fumbles going into the end zone, but recovers his own fumble in the back. Gets the back line, gets Green Hill up 14-7. Caden Chandler tacks on a 19-yard field goal in the fourth quarter to make it 17-7. But here comes Oakland over the final 6 minutes. Craig Tutt brings them within one score on a 22-yard touchdown run from the Ole Miss commit. Oakland forces a 3-and-out and a punt on the ensuing possession, and then on the first play of the next drive, Dante Cameron breaks loose again for a 78-yard touchdown run. Kyrie Gaynor kind of ends the game with an interception on a 3rd and 10 pass from Cannon Burrows inside Oakland territory with just about 3 minutes left, and Oakland is able to run out the clock and advance to what is now a home game next week in the Class 6A semifinals, thanks to an upset by another team from the Murfreesboro area. Blackman defeats Maryville convincingly on Friday night, 31-7. Javion Elliott, the quarterback for Blackman, was 12 of 20 passing for 128 yards and a touchdown. Also rushed for 46 yards as well. Jabari Kemp had 12 carries for the Blaze for 60 yards and a touchdown as well. Brylan Odor also had 4 receptions for 39 yards and a touchdown for Blackman, and then Daniel Smith and Micah Nance each had touchdown runs for the Blaze as well in that game. They will be a rematch. Obviously, those two teams are in a region together in Region 3-6A. They will now have an all Murfreesboro and all Rutherford County semifinal next week to try to advance the Class 6A Blue Cross Bowl. It is Blackman going to be at Oakland on Friday night, on Black Friday, which should be a heck of an atmosphere once again at Ray Hughes Stadium. There was one team also in the Rutherford County area playing on Friday night, trying to get to its first ever TLS State Championship game. This was in Division II Single A, coming off their big double overtime win over Friendship Christian last week. PCA lost to the University School of Jackson in the D2 Single A semifinals. 31-12 was the final score over at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium at MTSU. Sean Burkoffer had a touchdown run and 7 tackles. Obviously, he's a Mr. Football semifinalist in D2 Single A. For the Lions in this one, Porter Deadman had 11 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown as well. But the Lions fall short of reaching their first state championship game. This was their first ever semifinal appearance. Obviously, it's been a special season for LeBron Ferguson and PCA, which comes to a close in the Final Four in Division II Single A. That'll do it this week on the wrap-up. Appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys on the preview as we preview a all Rutherford County semifinal next week on Black Friday, coming up soon.
Thanks, David. That was a great warm-up. Let's take a moment real quick and hear from our amazing sponsors.
He shoots, and he scores!
Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
We are back and we are ready to go over to Blaine Kellar in North Central Middle Tennessee.
The Division II state championships have been set after this past week's finals and the D2 semifinals and the Division I quarterfinals. We have coverage of the games happening in Nashville. We will have coverage of the teams heading to Chattanooga from that area. It's part of our North Central region of Main Street Preps. Let's break down what happened this past week, where 4 teams will be headed to the D2 championships in Chattanooga, and a few more will be playing for a chance to get there this week after their quarterfinal wins. You can find these stories on MainStreetPreps.com or in print in the Hendersonville Standard and Main Street, Nashville. With the D2 championship starting in D2 Single A, Nashville Christian is headed back to the finals to defend its D2A title, defeating Trinity Christian Academy 41-7. Prized Georgia commitment Jared Curtis, a Vanderbilt target right now, had another strong night, passed for 3 touchdowns, rushed for 1 more, as Nashville Christian never really lost control of its Division IIA semifinal. The Eagles are undefeated heading into their championship defense against University School of Jackson. Another team headed back to the state championship game, this time looking for a title for the first time, is BGA. The Wildcats in D2 AA handled Coach Gary Rankin and Boyd Buchanan 49-3. They will rematch Middle Region foe Franklin Road Academy, which defeated Lausanne 49-21 on Friday to reach its first state championship game since 1991. Coach Justin Geisinger's team defeated BGA 21-14 in the regular season. BGA lost its state championship game a year ago against CPA, while the Lions were still a part of D2 AA. In the AAA classification of Division II, CPA reached the state semifinals thanks to a postseason push that included road upsets of Lipscomb Academy and Ensworth, but Brentwood Academy put an end to that, handling the Lions on Friday, a 38-7 final score. Brentwood Academy and Coach Paul Wade are headed to the D2 AAA championship for the first time since 2018, snapping a 7-year drought. Larry Sanders II, the junior running back for the Eagles, who missed most of his sophomore season, scored 4 touchdowns in the semifinals. He has 6 through 2 games in the postseason, was a force for BA throughout the regular year. That roster is just loaded. The Eagles are undefeated, like the Eagles of Nashville Christian both get a chance to take home a state title in 2 weeks. In the public school area, the game that we had coverage of in Williamson/Sumner County was Beach and Page in the Class 5A quarterfinals. Beach went ahead 2 scores early. Caden Powell scored on 2 straight rushing touchdowns in the second and third series for the Buccaneers. Page could not get on the board until a wild fumble recovery for a touchdown from their offense. Caden Ackerman picking up a teammate's fumble and scoring in the second quarter. They trailed 14-7, but then outscored Beach 24-7 the rest of the way, winning 31-21 on Friday. Knight Wilson caught an 86-yard touchdown from Cameron Cruzy. James Pierre punched in a 12-yard score and Cruzy had a 5-yard touchdown late to seal things for Page. We're now headed to their 5th straight Class 5A semifinal, chance for a 5th straight state championship game appearance. Beach's season ends with a 10-2 record, quarterfinal appearance, the second in the last 4 years for them. Check out those scores, those stories on MainStreetPreps.com as well as in print. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving and stay tuned to our coverage through the semifinals.
Thank you, Blaine. Maurice Patton is here to tell us all about the action in Southern Middle Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Maurice Patton. We are done with high school football in Southern Middle Tennessee. Our final two teams, Giles County and Richland, both went out in the quarterfinals of the state playoffs this past weekend. Giles County going over to Chattanooga in the Class 3A quarterfinals against Chattanooga Tyner and gave up 2 defensive touchdowns. A 65-yard pick six and a 28-yard scoop and score. And that was the difference, unfortunately, for the Bobcats in a 34-20 loss at Tyner. Pearson Collier with 122 rushing yards, scored a pair of touchdowns, but again, Tyner scoring on that pick six early and scoring on a scoop and score from 28 yards out to open the third quarter and retake a 20-13 lead. And that was basically the difference in the ball game. Giles County closed within a touchdown later, but that was as close as they would get. Tyner 34-20, the final there. Giles County has an 8-game win streak snapped, finishes 9-4 on the season with that loss this past Friday night. Tyner improves to 12-1. They will play at Gatlinburg Pittman in the semifinals this Friday. So, tough loss for Giles County, but from a 1-3 start to 9-4 and a shot, obviously, at the state semifinals. Came up a little short there, but that wraps it up for the Bobcats. Meanwhile, in Class 1A quarterfinal play, Richland was hanging with McKenzie. In fact, it was 21 apiece, and it was looking like overtime. But Aiden Mason on the final play of the game hits a 39-yard field goal to give McKenzie a 24-21 win at Richland. Tough loss for the Raiders, who finish up 10-3 with that loss. McKenzie improves to 12-1. They will host Fayetteville, also out of Region 5 1A, in this week's semifinals. In fact, Richland defeated Fayetteville 37-22 back in Week 10. A little bit of a bitter pill for the Raiders, I would imagine. But again, led early in this game, Richland did, on the first of 2 Jake Sands touchdowns. Sands finished with 98 rushing yards and a pair of touchdowns on 21 carries. But after Sands gave Richland that early 7-0 lead, McKenzie scored twice in the second quarter, goes up 14-7, and never trailed again. So, tough loss for Richland, but considering they had lost 55-7 over at McKenzie a year ago, heck of an improvement, heck of a season for the Raiders. Again, they finish up 12-3. McKenzie improves to, Richland finished 10-3. McKenzie improves to 12-1 with the win. And again, they will play Fayetteville in this weekend's state semifinal game. So that does it from Southern Middle Tennessee. I'm Maurice Patton. It's been a fun football season, and now it's on to the hardwood. We'll see y'all.
All right, Maurice, it's time to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
And we are back to wrap this week up with Calvin White over in Northwest Middle Tennessee.
Hello everybody, this is Calvin White, Northwest Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps, here to give you a quick wrap-up of all of the quarterfinal high school football playoff matchups in the Northwest region. Only 2 teams from the region in action last week, both from Robertson County, East Robertson and Springfield. We'll start with East Robertson. The Indians' undefeated season came to an end in the Class 2A quarterfinals after a 42-20 loss to Huntington. Class 2A Mr. Football semifinalist and East Robertson quarterback Kason Young threw for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns in the loss, threw a touchdown to Chris Groves and an 82-yard score to Brock Taylor. Huntington quarterback Kenton Smith rushed for 4 touchdowns in the win for the Mustangs. East Robertson's undefeated season ends at 12-1 in the Class 2A quarterfinals. Over to Springfield. Springfield fell 27-21 to South Gibson in overtime. Springfield running back Lamarius Dowland scored a touchdown with just under 2 minutes left in the game to put the Jackets up 7, Springfield elected to go for 2 to give themselves a 9-point lead with just under 2 minutes left. They did not convert, only had a 7-point lead. South Gibson drove the ball down the field toward the end of regulation, tied the game, and sent the game to overtime. Springfield got the ball first in overtime. Quarterback Kason Woodson threw an interception for the Yellow Jackets on their first drive. South Gibson only needed a field goal to win the game. South Gibson ended up scoring a touchdown on their next drive to eliminate the Jackets 27-21 in overtime. Springfield's season ends at 11-2 in the Class 4A quarterfinals. That'll do it for all of our wrap-up coverage in the Northwest region from the quarterfinal round of the high school football playoffs. As always, I'm Calvin White. I'll talk to you again soon.
And that's this week's high school football wrap-up show. Don't forget that Main Street Media TV has some great college and professional football-based shows lined up for you this season. Make sure you keep an eye on your local newspaper social media pages where you can catch all our great programming every single day. Also, don't miss the high school football preview show with these same sports editors and reporters Thursday. All right, we'll see you right back here next week with the high school football wrap-up show on Main Street Media TV.